Maya hadn't heard from her ex, Ryan, in nearly 4 months, and not since she'd gone completely off the grid. She had blocked his number, deleted all her social media accounts, and even moved to a new apartment in a different part of town. For the first time in months, she felt like she could breathe again. Her heart wasn't racing every time the doorbell rang. She didn't glance over her shoulder anymore when walking home. Life was starting to feel a broken bar normal. That night, wrapped in her blanket and ready for bed, she placed her phone on the nightstand. Just as she was about to turn off the lamp, her phone rang. Odd, the screen didn't light up with the number. No caller ID, no contact photo, just a black screen. And the ringtone. Her chest tightened. She hesitated, then let it ring. Finally, it stopped. She exhaled. Maybe it was a glitch or spam. But just as she reached for the lamp again, it started ringing again. Same black screen. This time, curiosity or dread got the better of her. She picked it up and answered. At first, silence, then a breath. Heavy, close, followed by a voice. I miss you. You can't hide forever. She froze. The voice was unmistakable. It was Ryan. She stared at the screen. The call was untraceable. She immediately ended it, her hands trembling, and turned the phone off. No one, not even her closest friend, had her new number. It was impossible. Then the apartment buzzer rang. 9 slow, deliberate chimes. Only a broken bar, 2 a broken bar, 3 a broken bar. She backed away from the door, heart pounding in her chest, eyes wide with panic. She hadn't told anyone where she lived. She realized in that moment he had found her again. Jason never thought the breakup would be a big deal. He and Clara had been dating for 6 months, but things fizzled out naturally, or so he believed. They agreed it wasn't working, and that was that. Or at least, he thought it was mutual. At first, the strange coincidences were easy to ignore. He'd bump into Clara at his local grocery store, smiling like nothing had ever happened. Then, she'd show up at his gym, working out on the elliptical directly across from him, even though she had never liked gyms. Once, he spotted her sitting outside his office building, sipping coffee and pretending to read a book. He told himself it was nothing, a string of chance encounters. She was probably just trying to stay friendly. Or maybe she didn't know where he hung out. But it kept happening. Everywhere he went, she was there, watching, silent, always with that calm, unreadable expression. One night, Jason came home exhausted. He tossed his gym bag in the corner and headed straight to the bathroom to shower. As he brushed his teeth in front of the mirror, he felt something, a movement in the reflection behind him. Just a quick flash of motion. His heart skipped. He turned quickly. Nothing, just the hallway, dark and still. But something wasn't right. He stepped out and checked each room. All clear, doors locked, windows shut. Still, he couldn't shake the feeling. He returned to the bathroom, only to notice something chilling. The window above the sink, one he never used, was slightly ajar. He leaned closer and froze. A small piece of white paper was taped to the inside of the glass, almost hidden in the frame. His fingers trembled as he peeled it off. Written in neat, curved handwriting, "You look good in that shirt. Keep wearing it." Jason dropped the note like it was on fire. That shirt had a green, only he hadn't worn it in months. It had been buried in the back of his drawer, something he almost forgot he owned. He stumbled back, his heart racing, his mind reeling. How could she have known? Had she been watching him, been in his apartment? The bathroom suddenly felt colder. The mirror fogged slightly, though the air was still. Jason realized Clara hadn't let go, and she was far closer than he ever imagined. Sophia had done everything right. After months of emotional and physical abuse from Amir, her ex-boyfriend, she finally escaped. She filed a restraining order. She changed her name on social media, blocked all his numbers, deleted mutual contacts, and even quit her job. With the little savings she had, she moved across the country to a city where she knew no one. She found a small studio apartment in a quiet neighborhood, got a new phone number, and started over. For the first time in over a year, she felt invisible, safe. That morning had started like any other. She went for her usual walk to the park, picked up a coffee from a nearby cafe tilde copyright, and returned home around 9 a.m. As she reached her apartment door, She immediately sensed something was off. The door was open just slightly ajar. She stood frozen in place. Her breathing slowed as her mind tried to rationalize. Did I forget to lock it? Did the landlord come in? But she always locked the door. It was a ritual. Triple check. Every time. She stepped inside cautiously. Nothing seemed disturbed. Her laptop was still on the desk. Her plants untouched. No drawers were open. Everything looked exactly as she had left it. Until she saw it. On the kitchen table, neatly centered, was a single Polaroid photograph. She slowly approached it. Her fingers trembled as she picked it up. It was a picture of Hira asleep taken from the foot of her bed. The timestamp on the bottom corner was from the night before. Her knees nearly gave out. She had slept through it. Someone had been in her apartment, inches from her, close enough to hear her breathing, close enough to hurt her. Panic surged. She ran to the door and yanked it open, but just before she could rush out to the hallway, something caught her eye, something sticking out of the lock from the outside. A key, half inserted. She stared at it. It wasn't hers. When the police arrived minutes later, they found no signs of forced entry. Her landlord swore that he hadn't entered, and that no one else had a copy of the key. Her lock was supposed to be unique and newly installed when she moved in. She asked the officer if they could trace the key. He shook his head. Whoever it was, a broken bar, they knew exactly what they were doing. That night, Sophia pushed her dresser in front of the door and slept with a kitchen knife under her pillow. She had changed cities, names, numbers, everything, and somehow, Amir had still found her. Nina had always thought of herself as rational. She didn't scare easily. Ghost stories never got to her, and horror movies usually made her laugh. But the past few weeks had begun to chip away at her confidence. It started with whispers, so faint and fragmented, usually late at night when the house was silent. She'd lie in bed, half asleep, and hear what sounded like a voice, distant and low, murmuring something she couldn't quite make out. At first, she told herself it was in her head, just echoes from the numbers, or maybe her overactive imagination. After all, she had just moved into this old Victorian house alone. New spaces always came with creaks and quirks. She tried to brush it off, but the whispers got louder, clearer. "You can't run. You belong to me." The voice sounded closer, far too close to be outside. Still, she resisted the idea that it was anything more than stress or insomnia. She had just come out of a long-term relationship with Raj, a man who had grown frighteningly possessive toward the end. Their breakup had been messy, and she had gone to great lengths to distance herself from him, changing her number, moving to a town where he knew no one, even scrubbing her digital footprint. She never wanted to see him again. One night, while working late at her kitchen table, the lights suddenly flickered, not just once, repeatedly, in a slow, deliberate rhythm. Then came a loud click from upstairs, like a door closing. Nina grabbed her phone and climbed the steps, one by one. Her breath was shaky. She kept telling herself she was being paranoid. She turned on every light she passed, scanning the hallway as she went. And then she saw it. Scrawled across the hallway wall in thick black marker were the words, "Welcome back, Nina." Her blood ran cold. She hadn't seen that phrase since Raj's last message to her 6 months ago, the message she had deleted and sworn to forget. She ran back downstairs, locked herself in the bathroom, and called the police. When the officers arrived, they did a full sweep of the house. No signs of forced entry, no broken windows, every door locked. At first, they assumed it was a prank or perhaps a bad joke played by someone who had seen her moving in. But one of the officers decided to check the attic just in case. What they found changed everything. In the far corner of the dusty attic, hidden behind insulation and old storage boxes, was a small sleeping area. A rolled-up sleeping bag, food wrappers, empty water bottles, a power bank plugged into the attic light socket up, and most chillingly, a collection of photographs. All of Nina sleeping, cooking, sitting in her living room, showering. Someone had been living inside the house with her for weeks, watching her, whispering through the vents. And based on the photos and the writing on the wall, there was no question who it was. Raj hadn't just found her again, he had never left.